Hey everyone, it's Chris Stegall here with Crème de la CRM, and I'm joined once again by Matt Kaufman. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Chris, good to see you again.
Good to see you. And we are here to help answer a question that a lot of folks new to the Salesforce career path have. How do you choose your first certification, and where do you start? And who better to help explain that than Matt Kaufman? How many certs do you have, Matt?
Well, let's check because I can't keep track. I'm a bit of a collector.
A good problem
Um,
to have.
yes, so according to Trailhead, I currently hold 31 certifications, but I think 3 of them are grandfathered or archived. So let's say 28.
Okay. And just to set the stage for folks that don't know, Salesforce certifications are proofs of knowledge, and they're not free. It's not like you could take it 100 times and pass. It's like, because I have some certifications for like Microsoft Office where it's like, yeah, spend an afternoon, you can get that. But these are tricky tests, right?
Yeah, they are well-written exams. And there's a whole team of people at Salesforce who create them, then another team who reviews them, and another team who makes sure that they're fair and unbiased and things like that. And they keep reviewing them and updating them, every year or so, as the platform has new changes. So a lot of time and effort goes into them, and because so much time and effort goes into them, they want to make sure that they really validate your knowledge of the platform. And there's a lot of niche certifications now. That's why there's so many, and I have so many, because it's not just do you know Salesforce anymore. It's do you know this one little aspect of Salesforce?
That's right. And you have to maintain them every year or every release.
Yeah.
So it's not like you could get one in 2015 and then just say, well, now I'm a doctor, so I can always practice medicine. It's like, you better stay up to date.
I think a lot of professionals have continuing education that they have to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully doctors and like that. We do too in the Salesforce universe. So we have Trailhead modules that we have to do every year to keep up with some of the releases and some of the features in those releases, just to make sure that you know new ways of doing things and the right way to do things as things change.
Yeah. And so those requirements in terms of the knowledge you have to have and the regular maintenance also serve to keep these certifications valuable in terms of employers who can then use them as a good metric of somebody's familiarity or skill within the platform. So they are a good way to build your resume as you continue your Salesforce career, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, if you're working in the ecosystem, you want to show your commitment to, your focus on Salesforce. And so the credential is a great way to do that, to say, hey, look, I'm so interested in being a Salesforce admin that I have this certification. But then also it validates, okay, you must know enough to be able to have passed. And each exam has different requirements for how many questions you have to get right. But it's always a decent number. The exams tend to get harder and harder over time also. So, I've been doing this for 22 years, and I think the first couple exams I took were probably easier than if I were to take the exact same exam today. The questions have changed over time. So you do have to have a good base knowledge of the platform and then that specific niche that you're testing on.
Okay. Well, let's say that I am, currently uncertified. I am familiar with Salesforce, but I'm sort of new to the ins and outs of the career building aspect of it. Where should I start? What should my first certification be?
Right. So if you go to the Trailhead website, you'll see this page. I got here by clicking on credentials and then certifications, and it kind of shows you the different categories, the different roles of certifications that are available. That's how we break them up. Not only is it broken up that way on this page, which is more like the descriptive marketing aspect of the certifications, but when you go to actually register for an exam, it's broken up by these categories as well. So some of them are a little easier to decide, right? So for instance, if you are on the marketing team and you manage your Salesforce's marketing cloud, obviously it makes more sense to come over to Salesforce Marketer and click on that option and see the different certifications that are available for you there. So that one's an easier one, right? Same's true if you are not really an admin of Salesforce or a developer, but you are a sales professional. That's an easy one. You come here, you click that, you only have one to choose from. And so this is really, an easy pick. Take this one if you are a sales professional that wants to show a prospective employer that, yeah, not only did you use Salesforce at your job, you really understand what the purpose of Salesforce is and what these features are good for. You don't have to know how to configure them, but you do understand like why you would use, forecasting or how you would use it, that type of stuff. And the same is true on the marketing side. There's a couple different ones that are available here. These are a little more technical. You can see it even gets down to developer and stuff like that. But all of these are related to Marketing Cloud. And so these are typically for people who are administering the Marketing Cloud, whether it's going to be the former one known as Pardot, which is now Account Engagement, or the traditional Marketing Cloud. These are the ones that are available to you here. And so those are going to be easy decisions. Are you in that role? Yes or no? If you're not, don't even look at it. The majority of people don't fall into these two categories that are interested in the certifications. They probably fall more into the administrator category. And so there, if you think about every customer of Salesforce, there's one employee at least at that company who's responsible for helping users when they can't log in, for updating a page layout when something's in the wrong place or isn't required, or creating a new field when we need to keep track of something. Whether that person is really an administrator or was hired to be an administrator or not, that person kind of became the accidental administrator, is what we usually call it. And so this is the section that you want to look at. And in this section, we have a couple different types of certifications. In general, there's three types of certifications that we tend to see. So we do have the roles, and then within that, we have three types. The first is going to be an associate, which is typically a $75 exam to take the first time. And they tend to be less depth of knowledge. So you still have to know things, but a lot of it is more high level cursory type of stuff and not too deep. The second is the historically traditional exam, which was the lower exam before associates came out. And so administrator may be an example of that. And those are $200 for your first take. If you don't pass the first time, that's totally okay. If you don't, then it's $100 to register to take it again. And so most exams fall into that bracket, the $200 bracket. There's a third exam, which is really advanced ones. They're usually architect level. We'll probably look at those a little later. Those are actually $400 to take. And then if you needed to do a retake because you didn't pass, then it's half off again. And so it would be $200 for the retake. Technically, there's one even higher, which is the Certified Technical Architect. We're not even going to get into that because if you're watching this video, you're probably not interested in that anyways. So from purposes of this video, we're talking about really $75 or $200 exams. And even the $400, usually the prereqs are so high that you're not going to take that for a while. Your first certification is going to probably be a $75 one. And so the easiest way to find that is to just look for the word associate anywhere on the screen. It looks like I might not be on the right screen, but we can look for associate up here. There we go, Salesforce Associate Certifications, and we can see them here and look for them. And so these tend to be a little easier to take. You can see here the AI Associate is currently free for your first attempt. So this is what I recommend that anyone who's interested in the Salesforce ecosystem and getting a certification for the first time, this is the one to take. Even if you're not an AI expert, there's still some value to taking the certification. So in my experience, and not only have I taken a lot of certification exams, but I know a lot of people who do, and I talk to a lot of people to kind of coach them on how to take them. There's a lot of fear in taking that first exam. So maybe you've taken other online exams before. I've taken some for other companies too. The process is different for each company, for each kind of tool that you're using. And so you don't know what to expect. When you take an exam, there's two ways to take it. You can take it online, which I think most people do. And there's an application that you have to run on your Windows or Mac computer that basically ensures that you can't be using your browser to search answers at the same time and stuff like that. So it kind of takes over control of your computer.
And you have to be on camera.
You have to be
nobody
on
else
camera.
in the room. Yeah. You have to show them the room and say, look, there's nobody hiding with a...
Exactly. So it is a little intimidating that first time because there are people watching you as you take the exam, but they're watching remotely. And I live with other people. Sometimes I've taken it at work when we were back in the office. There's noises going on, and I've actually had the exam stop before because there was a noise. They're like, hey, what was that noise? Or there's a weird glare in the camera, and they're like, hey, we can't see you well. Or my internet goes down, it gets laggy, and they're like, hey, we can't tell if you're actually there or not because you're frozen. And they'll pause the exam. You don't get kicked out, from the program for having a technical issue, but they'll pause the exam. You have to then talk to a support rep. make sure that your internet's stable and all that kind of stuff, and then you resume. And that's really intimidating. It's super scary because these are timed exams, and they do pause it though. They pause the timer, and the support is super friendly, but it's intimidating. And so the nice thing about taking a free exam first is you can at least get comfortable with that environment. Okay, I know what it's like. I know what the screens look like. I know what the questions are like. I've learned that I can't hit Control C or Control while taking an exam, because that will stop the exam if you try to copy anything. And it may be legitimate that you were doing it, because actually, while you're taking the exam, there's often a little part of the screen where you can make your own notes to yourself. You don't get to keep that after the exam's over. But while you're taking the exam, you can write a note saying, "Oh, I don't know what this word means," to yourself. And that way, if you see it later, you remember. But you can't copy paste. So, you don't want to do that. You have to retype the word. And so you kind of like learn the ins and out of the exams process just by taking the exam, and you don't have to waste $200 to do it or $75 to do it. You can take this one free, which this is free right now only through the end of 2025. So it's a limited time offer as far as we know. So now's a great time to take this first exam, which is the AI associate exam.
Yeah. And I think you have just suggested a good idea for a future video, which would be how to prepare, not how to prepare for an exam, but the actual physical space and like what to expect, what to have ready at your desk, what to have cleared off your desk. Because I know for me, when I took my exam, I showed them the room and they said, "Oh, your phone is on the table back there. Can you go put it in another room?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can." I figured it was far enough away that if you saw me get up and go back there, you'd say, "Well, okay."
I have a whiteboard. I have a whiteboard, and I have to erase my whiteboard before I take an exam. They don't really want something that could be notes up on the screen, even if they're not related to what you're doing. You got to remember the people who are being paid to watch you take the exam, they also have bosses, and they don't want to get in trouble with their boss for letting you have a note up on the screen or up on a whiteboard or wherever, even if the note just says "good luck." They just don't want to get in trouble, and you don't want to get them in trouble. So we have to take these extra steps before you take the exam. Clear off your entire desktop. Make sure there's no weird signs or whiteboards or anything like that. Make sure your phone's not right next to you when you're taking the exam either, because that doesn't look good. I've even heard stories of people who have tattoos that they have to show what the tattoo is, just to make sure that it's not a fake tattoo with answers, that type of stuff. Yeah.
We did have a colleague who took a cert exam this week who said that her exam paused in the middle and they thought she was having technical difficulties. And they said, "Oh, can we help you with something? Is everything okay?" And she was confused. And she was like, "No, I was just reading the question. My face just looks annoyed when I am thinking about these things." And they said, "Oh, we thought something was wrong with the app and you were frustrated with the test." But
they are watching. Yeah, they are watching it, and they have other tools probably also to kind of tell like if the clicks match the audio and the video and things like that. So you do want to prepare your environment ahead of time. Don't wait till the last minute to start. Also, installing that special application that kind of takes over your computer takes time. You got to turn off your firewall. There's different things you need to do. So you really got to prepare in advance your setup, your desktop, your computer. And then I usually log in 15 minutes early. Usually the test opening window, when you schedule it, let's say you schedule it for 8 p.m., it'll open up at 7:45 p.m. usually. Sometimes it's 7:50. And I try to log in right away, because that way I know that I'll be able to resolve any of those technical issues before my actual time. If you don't log in exactly on time, it's okay. You can still log in a little late, but you don't want to go so long that then they think that you didn't make it and you were a no-show.
Yeah. All right. So I think we have our answer. The first cert to start with is that AI Associate Cert, both for subject matter for the limited time free offer and because it's a free opportunity to get familiar with the testing and certification protocols, and hopefully get a early win under your belt. And so then you can decide where you want to point your efforts next. I did notice on the previous screen under the admins, it looked like the AI cert there, the next step up was also free, that AI specialist one.
Yes.
So
this is a much harder exam. So normally this would be a $200 exam.
Yeah.
And so it is much harder. But once you've passed the associate, you can study a little more, and then take the specialist.
Yeah. I tried to take the specialist at Dreamforce because it was free. And I said, well, I'll skip the easy one, the associate one, and try to jump straight into the advanced level. I did not pass. I am going to go back and take the associate level. and do things in the correct order. So I think that is a good recommendation for our folks too, because if it's your first cert, you want to give yourself the best chance at passing so that you get that positive momentum feeling and you don't run into a wall and go, oh no, back to the drawing board, you know?
Yeah, the way I would describe it is the AI associate exam is really for someone who's on a team of people, and they're going to be participating maybe in the implementation of some AI functionality, Agentforce or something like that in Salesforce. So you do need to know some information, but you're not the one that people are looking to make critical decisions. And the AI specialist is really more either a solo admin who has to implement it on themselves, or someone who's on the team that's in a more critical role where they have to make decisions and maybe figure out why something is or isn't working. So it's a much deeper level of knowledge.
All right. Well, thank you for walking us through that, Matt. Thank you all for watching. I think we do have some new video ideas coming up here based on this. We'll do how to prepare your workspace for a cert exam, what to know going into your first certification, what is the CTA? What do I want to point at that certified technical architect? That's what it stood for, right?
Yep.
That's
a long way to go down the path, I think. Those are all really great ideas, Chris. So if someone is watching right now and they did want to hear about any of those topics when we release a new video, how would they do that?
Well, they could let us know in the comments right here. They could
once we publish the video, how would they know that we published it?
Oh, they should subscribe.
Yeah.
You could like and subscribe to these videos. Liking does boost them up for other people to see them. So does subscribing. And in both instances, we get notifications that make us feel good. Comments make us feel good. Positive comments more so than other ones, but anything to let us know that we are reaching you is good. But yeah, subscribe here and you'll always be up to date and in the know on the latest in Salesforce news, tips, tricks, insights, events, and more.
Yeah, so might as well do it. You've lasted this long on the video. Hopefully that means you've enjoyed it. And we'll bring you some new videos soon and you'll find out.
That's true. All right. Thank you so much for watching. And Matt, thank you again for hopping on.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Bye.